Okay, so can everybody hear me okay? Yes? Okay. Yeah. We're trying it without the microphone today, so if you can't hear me, just give me a shout. So like Cindy said, my name is Stephanie Allen. I am the Health and Wellness Coordinator at Oakwood Village Retirement Community. Is anyone familiar with Oakwood? Have you heard about Oakwood? Yes? What do you know about Oakwood? When I say retirement community, what does that mean to you? What? Old people? Is that what you said? Yeah? How old? Over 65? What else? Assisted living? What else? Nobody wants to participate today. Okay, so I'll tell you. I'll give you the answer. So Oakwood Village is what we call a CCRC, or Continuing Care Retirement Community, which means we have independent living. To be in independent living, you have to be at least 55 years old. We have assisted living. We also have outpatient rehab, so we have physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. We have a memory care facility where folks with dementia are sort of in a separate area. And then we also have a skilled nursing facility. So if I need my hip replaced, I can come stay for 6 or 8 weeks, get the therapy I need, and then return to my home. We have a nursing home where people will come if they have a chronic condition, they'll stay with us for a longer period of time. So we have the full spectrum of care. I primarily work in the independent living setting. Most of the residents that I work with are 85 plus. I'm going to be showing a video at the end. Just because they're older adults doesn't mean that they're chronically ill or frail or wheelchair bound, or they all have dementia. I know when I talk with groups, most people think, oh gosh, you work with old people, that must be horrible. But it's actually a wonderful place to work. We have 2 campuses. The one that I work at is over on Mineral Point Road. In the independent living setting, we have roughly 500 residents, and then we have maybe 90 in the assisted living and more than that in the other areas. And then we have an East Side campus as well. The independent living is just, it's kind of like condos. Or an apartment complex maybe. We all live, or they all live. I'll say we sometimes because I feel like I live there. But they all live in close quarters just like you do in an apartment, but you own your own apartment. Does that make sense? Okay, so, and then I do have some personal training clients in the assisted living, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then if you have any questions when I'm talking, just shout out. I wrote down some of your questions, and I'll try to get to those. But if there's something that's really you're wondering about, just let me know, okay? Any questions so far? No questions. Everybody still with me? Y'all look really tired today. Yes. Okay. So I've been at Oakwood for probably about 4.5 years. I first started in wellness maybe about 2 years ago. When I started at Oakwood, I worked in the activities department, meaning that I helped plan programs, bus trips, we would bring in speakers and so forth. My undergrad was done at UW-Stevens Point. They don't have kinesiology, but they have what's called health promotion and wellness. So I studied there and then actually came here and did an internship with UW Hospital right down the road. Worked with their employee wellness program for quite a while, and decided that I wanted to work with the older adult population. It's kind of similar to working with kids. It doesn't sound like it would be, but it is. It takes a lot of patience and compassion and a lot of energy to work with older adults. Some of the residents that I work with probably have more energy than all of you do, especially today. So I'll show you a video. Last year we went snowshoeing for the first time over in the Arboretum. So you'll see some 95, 98-year-olds on snowshoes. It's pretty cool. Let's see. I have a few things that I want to pass around. I wasn't sure how many people would be here, kind of related to kinesiology. At Oakwood, we have a big focus on physical wellness, we have in the independent living setting, we have about 30 exercise classes a week, and that ranges from sit-down, low-impact chair range of motion classes. We have strength training. We have a men's fitness class, so I'm passing around a schedule if you want to read more about that. We also have Tai Chi. We have yoga. We have chair Pilates. And then we have warm water exercise where we go over to UW Sports Medicine, and some of the residents that are a little bit more frail will utilize the pool. The pool is about 92 degrees, so it's not what you would think of aerobics, but it's more range of motion and stretching exercises. So that's kind of fun. And then I do also see a lot of residents for one-on-one personal training. A few of the clients that I see, they're graduated from physical therapy or occupational therapy, and when they go home, sometimes when people are in rehab, they go home and they think, I'm better. You know, I had my hip replaced and I had 8 weeks of physical therapy and now I'm better. What happens, especially with the older adults, is when you don't use it, you lose it. So when they go home and they become more sedentary again, they don't do very well. So the rehab department will contact me and set someone up with personal training, and excuse me, and I'll see them maybe once or twice a week to go through some exercises with them. So for that, I have independent living and assisted living residents. And I see people in the full spectrum, someone that is 85 and wants to run, and someone that is maybe 85 and they are wheelchair bound, maybe they're post-stroke, maybe they've had some cardiac event where they can't do very much, but what they can do is better than nothing. So, any questions so far? So some of the other programs that we have, I passed around, are the Active Care brochures. Active Care is an 8-week wellness program that we offer. It's open to any of the residents in the independent living setting. And we have exercise 2 days a week. We have a fitness room on campus, so we have treadmills, new steps, Airdyne bikes, strength training equipment, dumbbells, any kind of equipment you could think of. We meet there twice a week for exercise, and we try to develop a plan for each individual person based on their wants and needs and ability levels. And then in the brochure it also talks about we have lunch and learns. So not only are we working on physical wellness, but we're also working on mental wellness, spiritual wellness. We have different speakers that come in and talk about different things that might pertain to an older adult. It might be memory health, it might be bladder health, it might be spiritual wellness. How do they stay connected? Because as we get older, sometimes our friends die and people can get depressed, and so we want to make sure that everybody is still engaged with everybody else. And so those brochures are going around. And we also do some assessments during that program. We look at the residents' quality of life, we look at their nutrition, we look at their balance and gait through some physical therapy tools. We do what's called the Tinetti balance and gait test. We test their blood sugar, we test their cholesterol, we do height, weight, blood pressure, things of that nature. So that's kind of a cool program. And then another project, and I just brought one today, I should have brought a few more books, but another project that I worked on with a group of pharmacy students, actually, first-year pharmacy students, is an exercise booklet to go along with that class. So we put together a booklet, and you'll see it. It's just exercises. There's pictures and descriptions of all of the exercises, so it's range of motion stretching exercises as well as strength training and balance exercises. So that's kind of a cool little thing, and everybody gets one of those they can keep, and that way they don't have to remember everything, because memory is one of those things that slows down a little bit as we get older and can be an inhibitor to exercise. If I can't remember what to do, obviously I'm not going to be able to do it. So we try to give them all the tools that they need to be successful. Other things that we do with our program, we try to not only focus on the physical aspect, but other areas of wellness. We have newsletters that we put out about various health topics. It might be about, I don't know, colon cancer, breast cancer, whatever the month is. You know, October is breast cancer month, or December is, I don't know, healthy eating or whatever. So we pick a different topic each month, and we have newsletters about that. We have bulletin boards. We have, let's see, what else do we have? Oh, we have the WE system. Are you familiar with the WE? We have a lot of residents that like to do Wii bowling, and for them, that's exercise. For someone that's wheelchair bound, if they can, you know, swing their arms, or if they can play tennis in their wheelchair, that's pretty cool for them. So we set up some Wii bowling tournaments and golfing and different programs like that. I think we even have fishing. I don't know what else is on there. We have cooking classes. We have a wellness clinic on campus. We do blood pressure clinics. We have sort of the full gamut of wellness-related activities, which is really, really nice, I think, for all the residents. Let's see. Oh, we also have things like meditation classes and balance classes, where we really try to catch a resident before. What I like to say the wellness department is we're proactive rather than reactive. So we're trying to catch someone before they have a major event like a stroke or a fall or something tragic happen. Not to say that I won't help someone who's been through rehab, but we try to catch them before something happens so they can remain successful and in their home as long as possible. When someone's in the independent living setting, it's the least expensive area of Oakwood. If someone, for some reason, has a fall or has to go to assisted living or the nursing home or one of the other areas, it's more expensive for them. They don't have as many opportunities, and it's just, it can lead to decline, if that makes sense. So, questions? No.
Do you have any services available to non-residents, or is it all on?
We do have some services available to non-residents. We work closely with the SAIL program, which is Support for Active Independent Lives. It's kind of a sister company to Oakwood. Community members, the SAIL program, they try to reach out to community members that are in their homes offering some of the same services. We might have a lecture series for them, or we might have special exercise classes for them that they can come either on campus or work with Oakwood to plan that. So we offer that. They can join the Active Care program for a fee. So all of these programs, the exercise classes, the Active Care program, all the wellness opportunities are free or included in the rent that residents pay. So if it's a community member, they would have, they would just pay out of pocket for that. We also work closely with MSCR. We just had an event. Is everybody familiar with MSCR? Madison School of Community Recreation. We just co-hosted an event where we had our director of pharmacy give a lecture about the importance of medications and how medications can interact and affect your physical wellness, your mental well-being, etc. And so we had lunch, and community members could sign up to join that program. We're trying to reach out more with the community. We just hired a new CEO, and he's very big into how can Oakwood, the Oakwood community, help community residents, or community residents that aren't Oakwood residents. So more and more comes each day. Yeah. Other questions? No. Okay, so I wanted to show a video to give you some idea of some of the residents that we work with. Like I said, we have extremes on both ends. We have people that are wheelchair bound and maybe use a cane or a walker or whatever, and then on the other hand, we have some of the more active residents, and these are.
Who is gone? Entertainment Group of Cedar Tech Oakwood Village.
Now, they ventured out today to make the most of this perfect winter afternoon by going on a snowshoeing trip through the Arboretum.
We have an activities and events resident committee, and they actually requested it at our monthly meeting last February, or this past month, so.
The residents wanted
The resident wanted to do this.
I think we need to get out and get some exercise, and I had suggested that maybe we should have a snowshoe club, and this is what happened. Wow, it really took off. It did.
Have you ever done this before?
Not until this fall. Actually, I won these snowshoes, and so I've been out doing it quite a bit.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Well, and it's a perfect day.
it's a beautiful day.
So it didn't take much convincing to get folks to come outside?
It didn't seem to. No.
Are most of these people beginners?
You know, about half the people did have their own snowshoes. But my friend here is a beginner, and she's using an extra pair of mine.
What do you like about it?
You could just enjoy the beauty of the outdoors. Well, it's an adventure. Yeah. I'm always on a little outdoor adventure.
Why aren't you more out here, huh? Where are all the young folks?
So Calvin Bean says, oh, I can't wait for spring. I'm so sick of the snow. I'm so sick of the winter. He said what?
I say, let it snow.
Harry's 98. Yep. Yep. She's amazing.
We usually do park walks in the summer. That's a monthly event. And we've never done a winter park walk, so I'm looking for We had so many people sign up within the first day. There was already like 9 people signed up. And we ended up with 17 residents. I've actually never snowshoed before. And over half of the ones that signed up had their own snowshoes.
Wow.
So we rented the rest. So I don't even have my own, and they already have theirs.
I wanted to get some, but I wasn't sure I'd be able to get them on me. And so now this looks like a good. Yeah. There you go. So you come on, now there's no stopping you.
That lady in the red is the biomechanics professor from the kinesiology department who retired before I got here. So I don't know how old she is.
She is, yeah, upper 80s. And the morning, I don't know if you could hear, but the morning of this event, she went swimming. She swims laps for like an hour, and then we went snowshoeing.
Very active.
Yeah,
She had a hip replacement.
yeah. One, maybe 2 of them. Yeah.
They move on very well.
Thanks for letting me tag along, me and my microphone. A little crazy. And thank you to the staff at Oakwood for letting us do that. That was really great. Yeah. Well, it's not everyone.
Cool. So those are some of our higher functioning residents. They're pretty amazing. Something that we can all maybe strive for. I hope I'm 98 and still snowshoeing. We do also do park walks, I forgot to mention, year-round. So anyone that has a cane, walker, wheelchair, whatever, can be a part of the park walk. We pick a local park that has at least 1 or 2 paved trails. So if someone has a wheelchair, they can do that part, and then someone who's more active, they can go off and hike 5 miles throughout, and then we all come back and have lunch together, and then just enjoy the day. So, questions? Yeah.
With older adults, I wonder if you could discuss, in trying to figure out what exercises are appropriate, how much consideration goes into safety and injury prevention
Sure.
versus their current fitness level or other challenges.
Yep. Did everybody hear that question? Okay, so wondering kind of what goes into planning a workout session for an older adult, how we kind of go about doing that. Do we take into consideration current ability levels or past history, etc.? Anyone that wants to start getting involved with an exercise program at Oakwood, we actually have them fill out what we call a physician's authorization form. So we get a sign off from their doctor saying, yay or nay, they're able to or not able to exercise. If someone has something that the doctor feels might be useful for me to know, maybe that they had a stroke 2 years ago or a heart attack or whatever, they'll put that on the sheet. And they'll also say, this person is okay to do whatever except this, that, and the other thing. And so we kind of abide by those rules. And then I also have residents fill out a health history questionnaire about themselves so that I have more information about them. Do they have hearing loss? Do they have vision loss? Maybe they only have one vision in one eye. Think about how that would affect your balance. So we have all that taken care of before they come to join a program. If they've been in therapy, the therapist will give me sort of the report that they have gained from that resident. They'll also give me their exercise routine so that I know exactly what that resident has been doing for the last 3, 6, 9 months. And from there we can go deeper into exercises or kind of stay where they are and just sort of work on maintenance rather than improving strength. For some residents, they can't hardly lift their arms, so asking them to do more than that if they've had a stroke just isn't possible. In my position, I do a lot of research if I don't know a lot about I don't know, say triple bypass surgery or something. I will do the research and figure out what type of restrictions there are. I'll work with that resident and or their family to figure out what their capabilities in terms of exercise are. The rule of thumb that we use for a lot of our programs is if it hurts, don't do it. That's kind of a good rule of thumb, right? If it hurts, don't do it. If they're doing, say, a bicep curl, and it hurts now, it's definitely not going to feel better later. And when you're 85, you don't heal as well as you do when you're 25. So that's sort of a fact or a rule of thumb that the residents can use to with anything that we do, just to, what do I want to say? They can use that as a limiting factor for themselves. If it doesn't feel good, then they'll just skip that part of class or skip that exercise with me, and then we'll move on to something else. Yeah, when these residents grew up, they never had to exercise because they worked on a farm, they had 5 kids, and everything was physical. They didn't have computers, they didn't have cell phones, they didn't have anything. They had to walk 5 miles to school and, didn't have shoes on, and we hear all these great stories. But they did grow up with that theory, no pain, no gain. And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of them have double shoulder replacements and double hip replacements and broken legs and all of these tragic things. So we're trying to change the mindset. It's not no pain, no gain. It's sort of maintain what I have, and if it hurts, don't do it. Yeah. Other questions? Yeah. Oh, good question. So she says, what happens if someone does get hurt, like in an exercise class or something? So we have on our campus what's called the RCP program. Stands for Residential Care Program, and it is kind of like a triage program. We have nurses and RAs that will come sort of assess the situation and see if that person needs to be taken to the hospital via ambulance, or if they just, fell and they're okay, they can get up by themselves, they'll check in with them later. So we use that as not our lifeline, but as our first step. Oakwood has a no-lift policy, so if someone falls on the ground, obviously I'll go over with them and talk with them and see if they're okay, but I'm not allowed to pick them up off of the floor, nor are any other residents allowed to pick them off the floor. I know sometimes your friend falls and you think, oh, I'll just give you a hand and I'll pull you up. Well, when you don't know the situation, or if that resident has a bum shoulder or whatever, usually then it's 2 residents on the floor versus just the one. So we use the RCP program, have them come check it out, see how they're doing, and then they sort of take it from there. We do have to fill out paperwork always when there's an accident or something. There's paper trails that you need to fill out. And we pass that on to the housing director, and we do keep reports of anybody who has had a fall or an injury or something like that, just so we know, are they doing okay? And if they've had multiple falls, obviously they're not doing okay. They might need more help or need to move to a different area on campus. And B, how safe is our physical area of Oakwood? Does that answer your question? Other questions? Yeah.
What is the highest physical resident that you have?
Say that again.
I was wondering who your most physical.
That's a good question. 2 of the folks that were in the video, the Davidsons, they just got back. I think it was from Costa Rica. They were zip lining. They were zip lining, and they've climbed. They climbed some huge mountain when they were there, and they're in their 80s. She's just coming off her 2nd knee replacement, and she's had 1 hip replaced. We have a few of the residents that are in their 90s that come to the gym, and they do the treadmill for an hour, and then they lift weights for an hour, and they're incredible. Betty, who he stopped and paused at, she swims 3 days a week. She's had multiple joints replaced, and she's still going strong. It's pretty amazing. And then we have a couple of younger residents who are maybe 60-ish, and they're not doing well. So take care of yourselves. Oh. Other questions? Yeah.
Like, what would you say is the biggest motivating factor for these residents? Because, I mean, couldn't you just, like, check it out? I mean, check
Yeah.
it out kind of, and why are they so motivated? I mean, look at those people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's motivation is on an individual basis. At Oakwood, myself and I do have a couple of students that work with me and an assistant. We don't like to see people sitting around, so we really get out there and we try to touch base with everybody and see why. If they are sitting around, why are they sitting around? Like I said, they never had to work out in their lives, so this is a whole new opportunity for them to get involved with something. They like to learn. They like to always be learning something new, and exercise is one of those things where it's always changing and evolving. And the thing that I like about exercise is that there's a lot more adaptations for older adults and replacements and things of that nature. Some of the residents aren't very motivated, and that's just the way they are. I can talk to you all I want about exercise, but if you're not motivated internally by something, I can't help you. So most of our residents are willing to learn. They want to be as healthy and as independent as they can be for as long as they can be. So what I hear a lot is residents saying, I don't want to move to assisted living, or I don't want to go to the nursing home, so I'm going to exercise every day, or I'm going to get out and walk, or I'm going to do my, my stretching exercises if that's what they can do. So, yeah, staying in their home is probably the biggest motivator that our residents have. Other questions? I should say, too, within the last couple of years, we had some other programs kind of related to kinesiology. We had a fitness trail put in on campus. So we have like range of motion exercises and tree push-ups and different things. We had big signs made. So around campus, they spread those out. So I can go for my walk, and then I'll stop, read the sign, and do some tree push-ups. And then I'll walk some more and stop and do a balance exercise. So we call that our fitness trail. That's one of the newest things. So anybody of any ability level can do that, which is kind of fun. We have three trails, walking trails on our campus. Our campus, I think, is about 12 acres. Over on Minnow Point Road, we have a nature preserve. So the trails wind through. It's open to the public if you've never been there. It's really nice. So other opportunities for residents to do something. Walking is probably one of the best things that an older adult can do, and most of them can still do that. If they can't, we figure out other things that they can do. Have you all heard of the New Step machine? The New Step machine is a great piece of equipment. It's kind of like a sit-down elliptical.